This is the MXtoday Podcast here on MotoOnline.com.au. Thank you. My name, of course, is Nick Still. Joining me tonight, like usual, it's Alex Gobert. Alex, how are you, mate?
Doing well, Nick. It's AUSX Open's done. I feel like every year it kind of feels like it takes a long time to get to this point of the year. But by the time we get to October, November, it just flies by. So, hard to believe that it's in the books. The Lawrences have been back 2 years in a row now, Nick, and it was good. Maybe not quite as loud as the year before, but it's one to go.
I feel like it's such a big week, right, leading into it. The Thursday, the Friday, you got the press day, you got stuff going on everywhere, and then all of a sudden it's over for another year. I feel like it just goes a little too fast. Like, I don't know. On race day, it feels like it goes ultra fast, right?
I think it's that tempo of AUSX Open when you consider the fan fest on the Friday. Obviously, quite a bit going on there, the activations and whatnot. Yourself and Trent obviously spoke about it in Express post-race. But, it's a very different vibe at the AUSX Open because on one hand, it is round 4 of the domestic AUSX Supercross Championship. But on the other side of that, it is, one of the very biggest, the most prestigious international races of the off-season. So, that tempo is like nothing else. It's the way that it's laid out. I think even the point that press day and the on-track activity is so short and it's so early on Friday morning. By the time you get to the Saturday and when the bikes hit the track to the night show, it just sort of happens before your eyes super quick and.
That's a great first talking point, and that's really what we learned at the AUSX Open. It's interesting you talk about there, one of the most prestigious international off-season events, and it really has been that in the past, Alex. That is very true, but for 2025,
No. You're not doing that. No,
sir. It's AUSX Open with the Lawrence.
I don't accept it.
It's AUSX Supercross with the Lawrences.
Nope,
that's what it was.
Absolutely not.
How can you call it one of the most prestigious
outside of the United States? Monster Energy Supercross, the SMX World Championship. It doesn't get much bigger in terms of Supercross, as in the real deal. I think what AME Group has done, when you compare it to AUSX Supercross, the championship, I think they've done a really, really fine job of raising the bar of the series the other rounds. So then that point of it compared to, previous years, take it back to 22, the real mix of different years. But now that the level of the series continues to elevate, the jump isn't so big. But when it comes to this particular event, I think outside of not having any more riders in terms of the real marquee AUSX Open draw cards, the fact is that the Lawrences were there, number 1 and 2 in SMX, 2 of the very best on the planet. And the event itself, the show, the way that it's done, everything about it, to me, it still obviously is one of the big ones.
As for the show, as for the stadium, as for the track, as for the event, absolutely, I agree with you 100%. But to me, that's still, and what we've seen on the weekend was AUSX Supercross with the Lawrences. That's what it was.
Yeah, and maybe for you, sir. Are you okay? I asked you this week, are you cranky again?
I'm not cranky. I'm just.
That is
I
not
had
AUSX Supercross with the Lawrences. You
I
are
know
insane.
I might be a little defensive with this because I had the
Nope.
same conversation with Trent Maher,
No,
and
I am
he
not
didn't.
Trent Maher, but I am telling you what Trent said in Express. He was overboard. And sorry, T-Mar, the introduction, when the Lawrences rode out, the opening ceremonies, maybe even the content in relation to the whole thing wasn't as good, and the reception was in no way the same. Less people. Either way, the crowd was quiet. I feel like you could sense the Lawrences felt that way. Very special moment for Kyle Webster this time around, which again is a bonus. But I agree. I'm not saying what I'm saying here is the Supercross itself outside of the US, it doesn't really get any better, including Paris. Why were there less people? Maybe some fatigue. Maybe they have other interests. Maybe they're at World Supercross. Who knows? Beyond that, though, it is far more than the AUSX Championship with the Lawrences. Picture this. Place them at Redcliffe. Place them at Cronulla.
I'm not knocking the
That's
event.
not an AUSX Open.
I'm not knocking the event.
Mm.
I'm saying you're exactly right about the event. It's a stadium. It's the track. It's the place. Just saying the racing.
What do you want?
I'm just saying the racing was AUSX Supercross with the Lawrences. That's what it was. We'll agree to disagree.
I'm not disagreeing. I think you're crazy.
That sounds like a disagreement to me.
Mm.
Why do you think?
Put it this way. Look at the depth of the round points. Okay, you have the Lawrences, Dean Wilson, Matt Moss, Dylan Wheels. Moss and Wheels being the outliers there. Melross, he was P6, so the way that his season has been once again consistent. Cedric Subaros, he was on the podium in Paris just a week prior. Dylan Walsh, Aaron Tanti down the order, Phil Nicoletti down the order, Mitchell Harrison outside of the top 10. Luke Clout obviously had one of the worst nights or rounds of his career, but it's I feel like obviously in terms of the name riders and who was there, yes, it is AUSX plus the Lawrences. Compare the event, not at all, in my opinion.
Why do you think the drop-off? Why do you think the drop-off in reception?
I don't know, Nick. How would I know?
But you can't sit there and tell me that it's the compare it to this year to last year. What is your reasons you think the drop off in reception? Because the Lawrences had that underwhelming.
You tell me.
Because it's saturated. We've seen it 12 months ago.
Yeah. Why do you look so down? And AUSX Open's just been on. This is Supercross.
This is Supercross.
No, I'm not for this. This type of attitude doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Attitude?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't accept this.
World Supercross. That's why. That's the reason.
I don't think so. I think it's one of the. T-Mar had that analogy on Express. When you consider bands and tours and whatnot, they're strategic in how they go about it. Yes, the Lawrences are our number 1 and 2 riders. Jet Lawrence probably alongside Chad Reed, obviously one of the very best to ever do it, especially from our country. Maybe they don't come every year. Obviously, we know beyond that, and we'll get into this in a moment. Maybe maybe it's better that they're not here each and every year. Maybe they should have been upfront that they're not coming back next year. Maybe that would have kind of, I guess, maybe had that sort of factor of getting people, we better go see them. But the narrative heading in was, we look forward to keeping on doing this. They were very vague. So, maybe that's a thing.
What are the other takeaways that you learnt from the 2025 AUSX Open compared to last year? What are the main takeaways for you?
One of them races, to me, I think it's becoming evident each and every year now. That stadium, that dirt, I don't know if it's the pressure, but it's one of the wacky ones. It's one of the results that is highly unpredictable. Of course, going in, you can say, okay, Jet Lawrence will, probably come out as the winner. It didn't happen last year. It did happen this year. But then again, you look at that first SX1 final on the weekend. Hunter Lawrence is buried in the pack. He's cruising through the field, tentative. The track doesn't allow you to take much from it. And, the result in the end shows didn't quite get up there, where we've kind of spoken about this in the past. I feel like Chad Reed's strategy was when he would come home, he would almost do whatever he could to beat the Aussie regulars by as far as possible. That was almost how many people can he lap? How far can he lap? And obviously, formats are different these days and whatnot. But I think for the Lawrences, and Jet's known for this as well, it's more how slow, quote unquote, we won't say slow, but how easy can I take it to win this race while minimizing risks? That's what they're known for. So,
yeah. I'd agree to it. I'd pretty much clarify it like an Anaheim one, where you just get the weirdo result, or it fabricates weird results. And I think that's the dirt. I think that's the track. I think that's the pressure. I think that's the big show, right? I think that all contributes to that and how that looks. So it's definitely a weird one for sure. We sort of mentioned it a little bit there, Alex, and that was...
I like the formats better.
You like the formats better?
Yeah.
Better than normal?
Better than previous years where it was sort of the Triple Crown type format. I know this year we've gone into basically the double header each and every round of AUSX. I think for that particular event, I think it works better. So less confusion,
I think
more of an outdoor style.
I think Super Pole is one of those things that just needs to stay. Super Pole and Supercross go together so well. That's my takeaway from it, is how much I enjoy that. So hopefully that's something we get to see. You sort of did mention it there with the Lawrences, that it was hinted that they would not return again next year. It could look a bit different. We've heard it quite some time that they're going to take some time off, recharge the batteries, potentially spend a little bit more time getting preparation for that 2027 CRF 450. And that leads me to that question, Alex, of AUSX Open without the Lawrences. How does it look? How different is it? And the strategy on gapping, having that talent here for the last 2 years and missing it next year. How does that look?
I think it's difficult, right? Because the Lawrences are the attraction. There's also, as you alluded to, that sort of sense of saturation in terms of World Supercross and who they're bringing to this country, which, again, we'll speak about in a little bit. But, there is that sense of competition. I think it's almost going to come down to the wow factor moving forward. I think there's a few things. Obviously, Monster Energy Kawasaki doesn't necessarily allow or like its riders to travel. But I think it comes down to, okay, who's our headline person? Can they attract a Chase Sexton? Who do you bring alongside a Chase Sexton? For example, I don't think it's realistic to expect a Sexton, Cooper Webb, Eli Tomac type level. So I look at it more of, okay, it's going to be an A-lister, say a Sexton, add in a personality like Aaron Plessinger, the Cowboy, a Malcolm Stewart, that level of rider. We haven't seen them here before. They're fresh, they're new, and they're almost at a level. If the Aussies were able to kind of challenge, if Dylan Wills was able to get to the checkered flag ahead of Hunter Lawrence, regardless of where Hunter Lawrence started from, it almost brings that, if you bring down that kind of second factory rider status, be it a Malcolm or whatnot, how do they fit in amongst the Aussies? So I think there's got to be some real strategy put behind this, some real thought, because obviously money isn't unlimited either. And there's no guarantee that the tickets are going to sell.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree 100% with you, really. And I think it's that case. We look for that A-lister. We look for our Cooper Webb. We look for our Chase Sexton. We look for our Eli Tomac. They're three guys I could see being able to pull this off, especially if they could pull off a Sexton, considering the monster Kawasaki side of things. I think that's pretty impressive. And then really lean into those personalities, your AP, your Mookie, your Ken Roxtons, those type of guys to be able to do it. And then I'm in two minds as well, Alex, where I'm like, maybe we go for, some of your 250 star riders and you put them on a 450 at AUSX Open. Something like that. You look for that. You look for something completely different. I feel like that could be...
Only works, Nick, if it's a Cooper Webb, for example, when he first came over to AUSX back when it was, initially beginning, already a Supercross champion. We knew the 450 transition was upcoming. He used it for some seat time. That kind of thing, I think, works. I'm trying to think of the different riders that we've sort of seen in the past.
And then I think it's pretty important as well. We use our Joey Savachis, our Christian Craigs, like those type of riders as well. I think that's really what creates it. While you sort of have a look at that,
RJ Hampshire, Nick, that's who was coming to mind. Back when RJ was still a 250 guy, he came over and did it as a late inclusion in SX1. So
that's what I mean.
Like trialed before.
That type of rider, I think that would be in. I think that really works. One question I'd love to ask Adam Bailey is, what is the magic number with Marvel of attendance that he requires for this thing to be beneficial? When you look at this event, logistically, it's a freaking nightmare. You've got to aquaprop the whole field up. You've got to have trucks coming in 24 hours a night. You've got to have the field covered at certain times, uncovered at certain times. What is the magic
number?
Any
less than the weekend? Any less than 30,000? We're out.
I think we're below. I think what we had on the weekend is below, and that's when
you can only go with what they claim, which is in the 30s, which is comparable to. What do you keep looking up at? So you have a habit of looking. What are we looking at?
I'm not going to lie. Where I am currently right now is a bit of a thunderstorm.
You're distracting me.
I've lost the roof.
What are you outside?
I've lost the roof this week.
Huh?
I don't want a roof too. I'm sort of under the impression, Alex, that I think we could see ourselves back at the Sydney, Kudos Bank Arena or something like that. I think we could see ourselves back there. And I'm okay with that. I really am.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
I think I would rather see that place filled out to the point where we can't sell more tickets and we have that atmosphere and we have that point than what we had on the weekend. And I'm okay with that. I wasn't okay with that prior, but I am now.
Yeah, it's if you think back, I think Justin Brayton, Chad Reed, some of those guys who experienced that kind of liked that, I guess, the intimate setting in a sense. The crowd feels like they're on top of you. I know Chad referred to it as kind of that fishbowl type feeling. I think the floor is just big enough once they use the kitchen, that extension. It's there's plenty that will say this isn't real Supercross.
We can go outside there. We can go outside.
But at the same time, there's also the factor that even if that is the AUSX Open and it's all about the pyro and the entertainment and the show, as you're saying, if they can sell that thing out at 16,000 people, give or take, 2 nights in a row, if they can do that. If they can go one night at 16,000 and a second night at 12, great. I wouldn't be totally against it. You wouldn't take it off of the table. I don't think it's what AME would want as the organizers, mostly because it's almost like a kind of conceding, not defeat, but just that the sport isn't quite big enough for Marvel. The problem is, if it goes too far into the 20s, regardless of if it is viable or not, there's also that fact that it begins to look empty. And I think they have to be a little bit more strategic even. Where do you place the finish line? What's behind the start line? Where is it placed? Because when you look at content, the start is always a popular one. It's empty behind that. The jump shot for the finish and the lighting the candles and whatnot, that's always empty in the background unless you're really, really crafty with your angle, I suppose. But even then, it's difficult to avoid. And there's a danger that even if there is over 30,000 people, which is impressive considering it's Australian Supercross regardless, in the biggest stadium, one of the very biggest stadiums in the world, I think there's just that danger. So, how do they do it? What do they do? I think they're going to attempt it at least once more, and we'll see.
I think it's worth noting as well, Alex, for that section there behind the start gates up through that area, that was all on a do not sell ticket scheme. So, when people see it on TV and they know it's empty, that area was never for sale. It was never going to open up. So, I find that a little odd.
Don't put the start gates there.
Exactly, I agree. I thought that was a little bit odd. I did ask Adam Bailey about that throughout the weekend. So, definitely.
And I feel like it's been similar every year. In terms of where that is positioned.
Sydney Supercross last year was exactly the same.
The Wollongong?
Wollongong, yep.
Yeah,
that was very, very similar. So, I don't know. I'm the more I think about it, Alex, the more I lean towards that 16,000. 2 nights, sure. That place is packed. It's atmosphere. It's on top of each other. Sure, I'm okay with that. I really am. How else? What else with AUSX without the Lawrences for you? How would this thing have to look? I think we really touched on it. Maybe a different venue, those different riders. But apart from that, I think it's fine. It stays as it is. We look for those draw cards. We look for the personalities, and I think we're fine. We're okay without it.
Yeah, and I think memory obviously takes you back to Sydney and that arena. The big thing that they want is a roof on these stadiums. That is essential for this type of investment. Feels like every year we walk out of that press conference, outside of the stadium, it's raining. So, yeah, obviously critical in itself. But, time will tell. I'm sure they're already brainstorming. But like I said, I just kind of thought if we knew for sure, and there is the chance that Jet or Hunter or both of them do get to the later stages of next year and decide, hey, I really want to go and do AUSX Open, and somehow we see them back. Who knows? Unlikely, I think. Jet said it on the record that he's not planning on coming. And Hunter said something along the lines of, whenever we are back again. The other thing is, I don't think you can do it in a pattern. So I don't think you can say every second year. I don't think you can really set it in stone, because then you're going to have that real drop off each time as well.
Yeah, I'd agree, and I'm interested to see how it looks there as well. So, but we ran a story. There was a bit of a feature on the website today, I believe it was, Alex, and that was that AUSX are considering strategic expansions in the 2026 series. Far North Queensland, Perth, New Zealand. Who knows how this could look in the next year? But that makes me very, very
not
excited.
all at once.
Yeah, absolutely. But head over to the website there, motoonline.com.au. Good story on that one, and then see how it's shaping up for 2000.
Nick, I don't want you to lose hope, sir. I feel like you were very down on the event. I know you're not down on the event, but I feel like the way it came across, you sound like you were. It was good.
It was fine. I was just giving my opinion.
All right.
I'm good for opinions. Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently. But Alex, it does continue this weekend, and then that really brings me down to Dean Wilson. He's one step away from securing himself a second championship in the AUSX Supercross Championship this weekend at Adelaide. Dean Wilson, it's looking very, very good, Alex. He has a healthy points lead in the SX1 over his teammate of Cedric Subaros, and the privateer effort of Hayden Melroth in third. That's the podium leading into this weekend. But for Dean Wilson, it's looking good, like he's going to deliver on probably one of his most hardest seasons, both physically and then probably mentally. So that's how that's looking to be this weekend.
Yeah, 42 points is the advantage. So 50 up for grabs. He's likely to cruise home. Obviously, he's going to be going for another win, more bonus money, all the rest of it. But this title certainly, we won't say it's clinched, but he's got one hand on that trophy. And all year long, Dean Wilson, I think this has been, one of the very best versions that we've seen of him. Aside from all that's been going on personally and the way that he's handled that, I think on the bike he's just been at a level that I don't even think that I've kind of seen him here before. I think I said this going into the weekend, Justin Brayton-esque, reminds me of what he was doing in his greater years, and I think if Savachi was here this year, I think Wilson would, I'm not going to say take the title off him anyway, but I think it would have been even harder than last year. And when you think back to, Dean, I guess, managing injuries at certain points last year and whatnot, but this year he's been good, just solid, executing each and every time. It almost got me thinking, I don't know if this is just the way it is in modern motorsports, but is there space for I don't know. You can't call it the playoffs because the series is so short anyway, but double points, triple points. Do we try to find a Vegas type scenario so it's not just a runaway?
Heat race points.
Yeah,
Heat race points
something.
is I think the way to achieve that, and maybe like little things, fastest lap, such and such, like most pass. I don't know. There's so many different ways to look at it.
Mm.
And I feel like that would really help, as in the championship points as well. There's a few different battles to look for in SX1, especially this weekend, Alex. Dylan Walsh and Mitchell Harrison. Those guys are only 2 points apart in the championship. And then all the way, Clout, Tanti, Nicoletti, those guys as well. So it might be, it might be a little bit wider open on the podium. But there is definitely a few battles to look forward to and look a little bit closer.
I think the fact that Melross, we saw him get that podium there in Redcliffe, the fact that he's still, or that he is top 3 in this championship, remarkable when you consider he doesn't race full time, far from it. You barely even hear of him outside of these 4 weekends. And what he's doing, there's obviously a lot of the talk about, Dylan Wills and the CDR, and we obviously are close with Willsy and whatnot. And you kind of see that pop back up again when he has rides like the weekend, which, a bit of a breakout. He wasn't able to line up in Cronulla in the end. Redcliffe didn't really go to plan 4 wheels. But I think a person like Melross almost has to be part of that conversation of, he too, I believe, was in talks to potentially reunite with CDR in 2025. Is he going to be a champion in future? Probably not. Does he keep going after finishing 3rd this year? Looks like he's enjoying it. Probably. I think there's I think we really need to sort of celebrate and give Melross the nod for what he's been able to achieve, because consistently strong, consistently just there, doing everything right.
Yeah, I agree. It's been just constant. It's been consistent. That's the way I'm going to call it. And the results have been there, especially at Redcliffe, finding himself on the podium. The biggest point where I scratch my head, Alex, and there's no disrespect to it, is the Monster Energy CDR Yamaha team. The results there: Mitchell Harrison 5th currently in points, Tanti 7th, Nicoletti 8th. That one makes me scratch my head. I didn't expect it to go that way for that team. And there's the flashes have been there, but those guys have picked their bikes up off the track quite a lot. So it's if there was one thing I look forward to, or I look towards this weekend at Adelaide for the finale, is the importance of finishing strong for the Monster Energy CDR team. There is a lot of importance surrounding that.
Yeah, I think they're going to want to get a result. It's tough to say, but the reality is, AUSX Open 12 months ago, Jed Beaton on the podium. You think back to the form that he displayed during Supercross. I think outdoors and in Supercross now, he is their main hope. I think that's realistic, even in Supercross. Tanti, obviously still rebuilding. I said this in the lead up, maybe just not quite, sharp enough just yet. The speed's there, the promise there. I think that's obvious. He has a 2-year contract ahead, which is a big deal for him in his career. He would want more. Just hasn't happened for whatever reason. Harrison, another one. I don't know. I think probably expect him to be, to me, more close to like a Supercross, for example. Again, he's been shifting around machinery. He's been back on a Kawasaki. He's been racing, in other parts of the world as well. But yeah, definitely hasn't made the most of the opportunity. Great guy, just hasn't happened for him. And then
He's
Phil,
really, Mitchell. He's really taken that Supercross journeyman with both hands, and I guess that would be quite hard to ship and change around with so many different bikes. Like, I get that for him. Tanti, I originally thought, he's building back into this thing, Alex. He's getting back into fitness. I feel like it was going to be a lot easier for him where he doesn't have that expectation to go perform and really, cement yourself a ride for 2026. He's with that team. He's got a multi-year deal. I thought that was really going to benefit him. And then Nicoletti, it's simple. He just needs to get a start. He just needs to be at the front of the pack and not the back of the pack. And I think that's really important. But out of
he
those
said in that
three,
interview with you, when Phil Nicoletti, he's used to in Supercross, and he is retired from full-time competition, but he's used to starting up front and, as he says, basically going backwards. The starts haven't been there for him for whatever reason. And yeah, but I think he brings value either way.
Oh, absolutely. He does, most certainly. So
he never had the expectation to win. I think we had more expectation than he did. And yeah, I think I wouldn't be mad if Phil Nicoletti came back next year.
No, not at all. I think Phil is
same bike. Get him on there.
I think Phil is one of those riders, right, that it has that personality. It brings that personality to it. The fans want to see him. The fans want to get photos with him. I think that's important in this domestic championship as well. But that's one of the things in the SX1 class for me, Alex. It's those battles that I'd be looking towards this weekend. Your Clout, your Tanti, your Nicoletti, and then the same thing there, Walsh and Harrison. The real talk of the town, though, I think this weekend, Alex, is going to be that SX2 class, and it's simple as that. Ryder Kingsford and Alex Larwood in SX2. It's going to be a showdown. It is look for fireworks in that class. There's going to be lots to look forward to. I've spoken to both guys in the last couple of days, and Kingsford was real. Hey, I still want to go out there and win. I still want to go put on a good show and do this and really focus on hitting my marks. And with Alex Larwood, it's simple. I'll do anything to win a championship, and that's the way it's going to be. I look for fireworks in that class. There's only a certain amount of ways to get it done. When you look at Kingsford, probably easier just to follow the number 5 of Alex Larwood round, whereas Alex Larwood, the only way it's going to work is you have something in your favour. You got to ride a little bit defensive. You've got to put Ryder Kingsford over a berm. You've got to do whatever you can do to win this thing. It is going to go down this weekend in SX2.
The format, so 12 points is the difference. Full points per moto, per race. So you can make up ground pretty quickly. It's not like 12 points in a traditional sense, is overly difficult to make up, I suppose. But at the same time, there isn't a lot of difference between, for example, I'm just looking here. So 25, 22, 20. So there's a bit in it. Does Alex Larwood actually do anything it takes? I wasn't sold in the interview. I think it was more of to me, it wasn't a threat. It was more of if the opportunity's there, let's see what happens. Which I think it's very different than just going. He ain't getting digs at Vegas, obviously. I think Ryder Kingsford, I don't follow Alex Larwood. I go there and I try to win both races. I try to with Lux Turner gone, if I'm Ryder Kingsford, I go and win this championship. That's what I do. I go and win it.
When you look at
Ryder to defend it. Are you trying to sell tickets? Did you actually believe what Alex Larwood said?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
You don't believe that Yariv Konski will sit them down?
Great friends. We're obviously great friends. You know, if I'm there, I might do something. Come on.
Fantastic. Yariv Konski is going to have them all around the truck singing Kumbaya? No way.
Yeah.
No way.
When you get out the boxing pads like Wilsey before the AUSX.
Yeah, could be doing that. Could be stirring them up.
Dean Wills,
when you look at riders out this weekend, Alex, though, Lux Turner, he's out. Wilson Todd, Shane McElrath, Caleb Barham, Tiger Wood, Jace Cosford, Cole Thompson. It is a bit of a depleted class in SX2 this weekend. That could throw a spanner in the mix for overall championship points. But do I believe it's going to go down between Alex Larwood and Ryder Kingsford? Absolutely. I'll give it. I'll take that.
I think it's going to be I don't see anything going over the berm. Maybe they connect handlebars and whatever. Who knows? If I'm Ryder Kingsford, I go and win this championship. The end. I'm not following Alex Larwood. I'm not messing around. Just whole shot, lead, show us you're a champion.
We'll see. That track, I feel, really creates that type of riding, if you know what I mean. I feel like it is very tight. It's very small. I think the way to make that happen, if you don't get if you don't get a start, you really have to push the envelope and make aggressive moves to get to the front. What about Alex Larwood becoming a wrecking ball in the first corner?
You're selling tickets. There is Wilson Todd in.
I do not believe so. No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
If he is that Bud, do we think that Bud can catch Turner? It's 137 to 109. Does Bud get Turner for a podium position in this championship? Behind him is Wilson Todd, so that's why he's only 1 point back from Reese. So that's why I was kind of curious, because behind him, McElrath, Barham, and they're obviously not there. So Jake Cannon.
I think he does. He's only got to get 15 points each moto to 30 points to get to that point. I think we see him do that. I really do. That's pretty achieved for him. You know, it hasn't been a good season for him to finish third on the championship without standing on the podium at all. That's pretty wild.
He needs 18 points. So yeah, not a lot.
Correct. Not a lot for him there. And then there's a few riders there as well, like Jake Cannon. If you don't have Barham, McElrath, Wilson Todd, I think he climbs up quite a lot as well. He'll be in that fifth position through there. So definitely going to be a lot of moving and shaking around. But yeah, I don't know.
What about so Barham has obviously chosen to go and race Worlds, but he wouldn't be that far out of the conversation, I guess, to catch Turner, 96 to 137. But really, he's not that far behind Bud. But yeah.
Making that decision, full privateer effort for him to go ride World Supercross. I get that. That makes sense to me. But yeah, it's when you look at that, Alex, I think I'm not going to say a depleted class, but it's definitely going to be missing a lot of its riders.
I think you did. I think you already did say depleted. So you don't think Wilson Todd's in?
I don't think so. That foot looks pretty bad. If he is, he's there for one reason.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. If he's not in, McElrath is obviously not there. Tiger Wood, ruptured ACL. He definitely won't be there. Kind of a one-on-one fight.
That's what I mean.
Blue corner and
If
red
Wilson
corner.
Todd's there, if Wilson Todd's there, he's got a simple task, Alex, of you need to create a wrecking ball in the first corner.
You selling tickets again?
I might be going to the event yet. Maybe.
I don't think we see any of this wrecking ball. I think
we're
just
going to see a have it?
No.
Why?
I think there's more chance. Okay. I think, and no, I don't know why. I just have this feeling. If the roles were reversed, I can see Ryder Kingsford going for the hit. I don't know why. Your interview with Larwood, I wasn't convinced. We did the news story. No,
you don't think Larwood?
Whoa! I didn't say that. I just said I don't think that is the all-out strategy.
The last time we were in Adelaide, he was our winner. Hometown for him. He'll have all his fans and his his friends and family from Mildura. They'll be there looking for me. Sorry, fellas, ain't gonna be there. But the same thing as well. I think Alex Larwood has that chip on his shoulder of know your read. You put McElrathie, you put Tiger Wood, you had Brodie Connolly, you had Wilson Todd. You didn't think I could win. Guess what? I'm going to show you I can.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not good enough to win, or I'm not saying he's not. I think he's one of the very best that we have. I'm saying this wrecking ball nonsense that you're talking, I just can't see it. I think either of these riders are going to go out and win the championship.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah,
one of these two riders is going to win the championship. That's fantastic. That's great.
Go and win.
Yeah, you're right. They are. One of the two riders is going to win the championship. I believe it's going to be Ryder Kingsford.
Yep.
Kingsford is going to get the job done on the weekend, but I don't think it happens without some type of drama.
It's going to be good. I mean, it's a real shame for Lux Turner of, to won't say lose the championship in the way that it happened, but just to have his preseason for next year disrupted in the way that it has been. Super tough for him. But to see this championship, to see two, as I said, of our very best young Australians, there's every chance that both of these guys do get overseas within the next couple of years. And I think they're competitive on the world stage. So, it's a big deal for them. And I think that's going to be, kind of interesting just to follow to see. So maybe no wrecking balls, but somebody, Nick, is going to win this championship.
Wow. That's fantastic. Someone is going to win the championship. It's like saying pro riders are good riders.
I'm saying they're going to win it from the front. They're going to go out and they are going to prove themselves a champion.
That's usually what happens. When they win, they finish first. That's what happens. It's an old system, Alex, but it works.
Yep.
The silver lining to this, and something I think is a feel-good story, Alex, is that 250 SX2 championship is going to be won by an Australian. It's been some time since we've been able to win championships with Australian riders. I think there's a lot to take in that. Monster Energy, Emelube, Yamaha, those guys have it's been some time with success for them. And the same thing as Ryder Kingsford. We believe Ryder Kingsford won't be there with that team next year. What a way.
Can we circle back to something quickly? I've been searching all over the place.
Thank you. Was that before or after you told me that the person that wins?
Yeah.
So next time you decide to cut me off, if you can have your facts ready that you've been looking for 35 minutes, that would be fantastic. This is a live presentation. Thank you.
So, my apologies. Alex Larwood, Adelaide last year. You keep saying he won. Yeah?
Number one on the track. Number one in my heart.
No. He was on the podium. McElrath,
Doesn't matter. He won
Connolly,
the last race.
Larwood.
There you go. That's fine. Hometown.
Just saying.
It took you 35 minutes to look for that?
Well, if they didn't host 4 races, I wouldn't have had to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to see who did what.
I bet you he won one of the 4, and that's what I'll be thinking about.
No, he didn't. That's what I was checking.
Jesus.
It went Connolly, McElrath.
Yep. Yeah. Second time out at the Adelaide Grand Final this weekend, Alex, as well. I think it's going to look very, very similar to as it has in the past. I did ask Adam Bailey about this throughout the week, and it was a case of, I think we got an extra 30 meters of land for the track. So it is still going to be very, very tight, but there is room for at least another rhythm lane, so to speak, and potentially maybe a bigger first corner. So much the same alongside the Supercars Grand Finale in Adelaide this weekend. It's going to be fine. So if you have a Supercars ticket, Alex, you can go to Napa Speedway. You can see the sprint cars there. You can see the Boost Mobile Supercross. You can go to Supercars. There is going to be fans going around there all weekend. You can go through the pits. You can go to the trucks. You can see the riders. I think it is a good it's a good way to end this thing out for 2025. That's why I'm going to put it.
Yeah, I think I was at those Phillip Island races when Supercross was at MotoGP. And to me, the way that this is done feels way better. It feels like a genuine Supercross event. Obviously, it is an undercard alongside the Supercars, but the way they integrate it, the way that the Adelaide Grand Final, Nick, includes it in the media sessions or all the rest of it, it's taken seriously. Phillip Island, I felt like it was kind of just situated on one of up near that Lukey Heights region. Just kind of a bit of a sideshow if you stumbled across it. And yeah, I think in Adelaide it works. It's one of those ones where I hope that it stays. I think this year it will be a lot more without those 4 race formats. I think having it consistent year round with the 2 race formats for the SX1, SX2 classes, I think that makes a lot more sense. Just less confusing. A real balance between motorsport and energy, versus entertainment and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, Supercross is a legitimate motorsport. We're there to see what the outcome is. I don't know if you know this, Nick, but the winner will win.
Shocking.
So, yeah. So that's
I don't think we see it again.
Yeah.
I think if you're a fan of Supercross, the Supercars, I would make the effort to attend this one because I don't think we see it again.
You got intel?
Maybe. Maybe.
I think if you're going to go to South Australia, I think this is a good one. We're not going to play tennis again, are we?
Yeah, that was rough.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you did miss much. That was a rough one. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed this event last year. I am a motorsports fan. I like supercars. I like cars. I like motorsports. So, I guess I have a connection to it. But I really did enjoy this. It It was a great 3 days, and I genuinely am disappointed to be missing it this weekend. I really am.
You can go.
You going to pay for it?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I agree. I think that's what it comes down to, is just when you that's the disappointing thing, is with World Supercross on the same weekend, not only as just the Australian Supercross Championship, but the final round of the series. When you consider that, and I think months back, there was almost that, it won't matter too much. And the way that this particular round of AUSX is structured, it doesn't impact directly on AME Group in terms of ticket sales. That's not how this thing is set up. But at the same time, the reality is attention will be divided. You did that interview with Adam Bailey and, on the eve of AUSX, and we obviously made some articles out of that based upon, the conflicts between WSX and AUSX. I think it's a bigger deal than what anybody anticipated that they will clash. And like me or like you, there's fans out there that, sure, they are 1,000 miles apart by air, Adelaide and the Gold Coast, but industry, commercial partners, broadcast, social media attention, all of the above, let alone the opportunities for riders that are potentially missed either way. That's the disappointment in all of this, to have to make that choice.
It sucks. No one's a winner. No one's a winner out of this. So yeah, it's disappointing, and it's one of those things that I think, regardless, as industry, Alex, it feels weird. It's going to feel weird for the industry that's at the Gold Coast, knowing that our finale of our domestic championship is on the other side of the, in the middle of the country happening right then. I think that's weird. No one's a winner. Team's not the winner. Industry fans are the ones at the complete loss. But one thing's for sure, Alex, World Supercross, Australian GP, it's this weekend. Burwell and the boys kicking it on the Gold Coast.
Your man, Superman.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not against World Supercross in the sense of take away, I guess, any emotion in terms of having to make a decision, of what event, you personally attend. MotoOnline, by the way, doesn't change regardless. We do all sorts of events year round where I'm not at them. Shout out Scott Bishop. He'll let us know.
Yep. I'm there though.
Yeah, where the content people are doing what they do. All the content always gets posted remotely. The way that we go about it, nothing changes on the website itself. Makes it logistically challenging. But at the same time, if you think back to Redcliffe, I think we joked about it at the time. I spent most of my day in the press box at Redcliffe, at KO Stadium, doing updates on Australian Enduro Championship. So
I've had a few times now where I'm at an Australian Superbike race, watching Monster Energy Supercross, going to my rental, jumping in for a press conference. It doesn't really matter. And I have nothing against that either, Alex. I have nothing against World Supercross. I've said this from the very start, and I'll stick with it now. If what World Supercross are doing this weekend is taking a hit or taking taking a hitman against the AUSX
like Alex Larwood on Ryder Kingsford,
I have a problem, man. That's when I have a problem. If they are out this weekend to try and destroy our championship, be that an Adam Bailey hate, a hit on Adam Bailey, whatever it is. If that's what they are doing, that is when I have a problem.
But very intense when you put it that way. He's putting a hit on Adam Bailey.
It is.
I know what you're saying.
That's the most ironic thing out of this, Alex, is the one thing that Bailey created, the one thing that Bailey put his nuts on the line to protect, to keep going, is the one thing that's going to kill him.
I don't think it does.
I don't think it does either. But they're having a good go.
Yeah, if you say, I like the terminology there when you said, if World Supercross is trying to destroy AUSX, that's not okay.
Nope.
100% agreed. We may or may not. I wrote this in the article this week that we've been on and off in discussion. I think we've been, spoken about it on the podcast to speak to Tom Burwell, again, the CEO of SX Global, to get to the bottom of, what are their intentions. I even emailed them some topics of what I was suggesting. The obvious, what's Ken Roxon's contract? Actually, what's the position on that? Is he doing all rounds? Is he not? But there was the ones of, okay, what's the friction with AUSX? And let's speak about the clash. At that point, from May through to September was when they went quiet. So we don't really have a direct answer from them, but we're going to hopefully get it this weekend. And I'll straight up ask the organization why the date clash. Let's see what they say. I know that Bailey's adamant. We also have the fact that what riders are exclusive to WSX, what riders aren't. There's the Motorcycling Australia factor. Why did they approve this to happen in the first place? Was it initially supposed to be Perth? When did it shift to the Gold Coast? All of the above. But let's see what they say.
I've heard some interviews from Burwell, and I'm afraid all you're just going to get is bullshit from Burwell.
The verticals.
Like, I don't know. I think what you said then, Alex.
But
I think
you can't say that, because at the end of the day, you can say, "Oh, you'll get BS from Burwell," but at the end of the day, you can sense person to person what you can read between the lines.
you can, but depends if that person's good at putting a facade up. And I think with Burwell, he is. You've got to expect that he goes into that interview fully expecting your intentions of asking those questions. And I think you've got a fabrication right there.
But at least we have an answer.
Correct.
Like we said at the top. So the claims was in the 30,000s for AUSX Open fan-wise. You said, I don't think there was.
Nope.
Either way, you've made your decision, and they've stated what they've stated. And the people listening, the people attending can make of it what they will. And that, unfortunately, Nick, is just media. You can rewind back to the press conferences on Friday at AUSX. Jet Lawrence, Hunter Lawrence, do we see you next year? That answer wasn't exactly as straightforward as after the race. And that's not because they're lying as such. It's more because of they think that they're doing what they should. And I think that's the reason why Adam Bailey finally opened up, because there was a long time there where we chased interviews, or when Ryan Sanderson departed, we wanted interviews. and they weren't willing to speak at that point. That they were unable to, they didn't want to, who knows? But that's really how it stands. In terms of
For those
media,
that don't,
I think you have to ask the questions and not accept the answers, but read into the answers and do your research based upon those answers.
yeah, I agree. And for those that don't know what we're talking about, anywhere you get your podcast, on the website there as well, there's a couple of things. There's an interview I did with Adam Bailey. If you click down there, scroll down there, you'll get that point. And then the same on the website there, Alex, there was a story that you did. Speaking of the conflicts between World Supercross and AUSX that can't be ignored. So a lot of good stuff there. Head over there, have a read, and get your opinion of it. And make your own judgment from what you hear from Adam say, from the topics that you bring up, Alex. I want people to make their judgment on the way they see that happening, and hopefully we can sit down with Superman this weekend and get his perspective on it, and we can really start to break this thing down.
And I fully understand the other thing. If you're a fan of Supercross, and regardless of if they're losing money, if they're sending, the riders that they're bringing to Australia, bringing here, Eli Tomac, 450 SX champion, Cooper Webb, 3-time, highly disrespected by T-Mar in the Express, by the way, Nick. Your friend.
No
Coop,
good.
No,
good.
Was not good. Not good. We have beef, me and you.
Yes.
T-Mar, he's just of a different. He's different. Our friend T-Mar, by the way. But what I was getting at, if you're a fan of Supercross, and realistically, as you are, as I am, there's a reason why, beyond the MotoOnline international element of what we're trying to achieve with the brand, the fact is Eli Tomac, Cooper Webb, Hayden Deegan, blah blah blah, keep naming them all the way through, Jason Anderson, all these different riders, Savachi, Christian Craig, your guy. The fact is they are racing in Australia. How, why, when, all of the above. If you're a fan, that is a lot to get excited about, and that is the reality of it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the fact of your favorite rider of Hayden Deegan might be walking up the beach you live on. Something like that. These guys are in the country. They're doing things. They have a presence here this weekend, Alex, in both World Supercross on the Gold Coast there, then the finale of the AUSX Supercross Championship. Gates will be dropping in Adelaide this weekend. You can watch it on TV. Alternatively, MotoOnline.com.au.
Are we ending?
MotoOnline.com.au for the latest.
No.
Yeah, what, you're not? You want to keep going?
Yeah.
What do you got for me?
We're not done.
What do you mean?
It reminds me of the top where the cranky Nick, that wasn't it, blah, blah, blah. You weren't happy with AUSX Open.
When?
7 days later.
I wasn't saying I wasn't happy with it.
You said it's AUSX Championship, the Lawrences, you were salty, you were cranky. World Supercross is bringing the big names. It's bringing a lot to the Gold Coast. And I think, and again, I'm not against World Supercross. I'm not for World Supercross or vice versa with AUSX. I love what AME is doing with the championship in Australia. I think the clash is the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a long, long time. Maybe top three ever.
It's an embarrassment, yes.
Yep, embarrassment. all of the above. I'm looking forward. I don't think we gave Matt Moss enough justice for what he did in Melbourne, which also excites me to think, what if he carries that momentum into the Gold Coast, hometown hero kind of thing? I don't know, but
He's just
not expecting anything crazy. But yeah, and Ken Roxon, the world championship leader, Nick, will he continue into South Africa, Sweden? I don't think so, but it's not clear. Can your man Christian battle for this title?
Matt Moss riding with Hayden Deegan. Spent a couple of days riding with him, which is interesting. It's that Jason Anderson, Christian Craig battle for the championship. I think Christian gets it done. I hope so. Throw Savachi.
I'll tell you what I disagree with.
Here we go.
Tom, Superman, if you're listening.
Yep.
All right. That graphic they put up, you can go to FIM/WSX on Instagram.
I'd rather
the SX1 battle for second. Did you see that graphic?
Yep.
This one.
Yep.
Yeah? No. Be transparent. Battle for the title.
Championship. I also think, as my computer looks like it's about to die, I think as well, whoever is creating the track map visual video thing needs to be sacked immediately.
You don't like that?
No, that's rubbish.
I felt like I was flying in.
I felt like I was
over the top.
I felt like I was playing MX Superfly on my computer.
Felt like Excite Bike or something.
Yeah,
the stadium looked good, but
never.
Where's the
never do
box?
that? Never do that ever again. So, Tom, if you're listening, my demand is sort the shit with the dates and remove whoever is doing those videos.
It's
no good.
Yeah. So I feel like we've covered a lot tonight.
We have covered a lot tonight, like usual. We're doing this.
I feel like we're beefing.
We've had a rough day.
We've had a rough day. The SX2 championship is going to be won.
Yep. The person who wins the race is going to win the night. Like, that's how it works. Which is cool. But
yeah,
I don't know where I'm going to be this weekend, Alex. I don't know if I'm going to be at World Supercross. I don't know if I'm going to be at the Adelaide finale. I don't know if I'll be on the couch at home watching it both. I don't know where I'll be.
Sounds confusing.
I thought I knew where I was going to be. Curveball.
What's wrong?
No credential. Tom, it's me, mate. What's happened?
Maybe he saw the part where you said my heart is with AME.
We're like Bogdan and the boys are dogged me. Fellas.
It's yeah. I don't know. I'm confused. I need to listen to this back. I think we need to remember on Moto Limited, RIP. You used to do, was it the after show or something? I feel like we need to press stop and recording. We'll jump back on and
we didn't have enough podcasts at Moto Limited. We needed to keep adding to them.
Yeah, we'll do an
I
after
don't know
show.
how we recapped our own show.
Yeah. I could have recapped it for you.
I reckon you could have used some colourful words too.
Yeah.
I'm now
thank you, Nicholas.
I'm now putting my foot down. MotoOnline.com.au for the latest across the weekend. It doesn't matter if it's World Supercross, it is Australian Supercross, and everything in between. Head over there and then across the socials as well. And the YouTube. Jump on the YouTube. MotoOnline AUS. A lot of good stuff going up there this weekend and all week long. That is Alex Gobert. I'm Nick Still. This has been the MXtoday Podcast. It's race week. A couple days out. See you on the next one.